All right, welcome back to the Hammer Time Podcast. I'm Josh Baker, owner and promoter of HCS Grappling, and we are officially on the road to the 175-pound Grand Prix. And today I'm joined with one of those competitors, Brandon Smith. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks. It's an honor to be down here to compete for a Hammer Challenge series, especially in the Grand Prix. Happy to be here.
It's good, yeah. I'm happy. We've got to watch you kind of just grow up in front of our eyes. We just saw the highlight there, HCS 18. That was your first pro debut right here inside the circle. So I did kind of think, I was like, all right, I don't know what to do. This is our first Hammer Time that I'm sitting in front of somebody. I was like, all right, well, we have a big event coming up. Let's see. I was like, I'll just do it inside the circle because everything that only matters happens inside the circle. So how you feeling? You know, you're about to go into a Grand Prix.
Yeah, I feel phenomenal. Like my weight's good. I've been training pretty much every single day, lifting, training, everything. You name it, I'm doing it. But I competed 2 weeks ago, first time in like a couple months. I just was training in that meantime. I feel great. I'm ready to go out there and take that strap.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago you took the Men of War strap, right?
Yeah, Men of War strap.
Yeah, that's a nice, good little notch on your belt. So between that and fighting, how many belts you got?
So I have 3 MMA belts and 9 jiu-jitsu belts. I'm about to get my 10th next week. Hopefully soon just keep racking up the belts.
You're 21?
21, yeah.
21 years old.
21 in April, so
still a baby. just started getting it out. And like I was like thinking about like I coached against you when you were in high school. Is that what? It's not like I'm trying to think of like because we wrestled Freelborough. I forgot what school we were in, but it was Livingston. It was freezing
in there.
Freezing. Wrestled you guys. Livingston and Seton Hall Prep, and then I remember watching you, but I'm like, yeah, it's a wrestler. He's solid. And then it also just shows one, I'm getting old because when did you graduate?
2022.
So that was the same year you debuted for us.
Yeah, same year.
So it was like 2 months. Yeah,
it was like a month after.
It was June. HCS 3 was a duel.
I think it was the week of my graduation.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, now that So again, you've been here from the beginning. That was HCS 3, and our first team duel.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we did the 4 that day. You guys had a killer. If you look back at that lineup, and everyone said, I was like, oh, it's dangerous, but it's you, Luke.
Yeah, Eric. Galante, Jerry, Dan Espo, like all those guys, complete animal MMA fighters. I think all of them are pros. Yeah, all of them are pros now. But it was like a crazy lineup to just have coming out.
I just remember that event that was our first event live on YouTube. We were going from the iPad, whatever. And they're like, all right, my one buddy's like, yo, I can stream it. I was like, all right, let's try it. And when we had that, I was like, I'm telling you, the team duel is going to work. I'm telling you it's going to work. And everyone was like, oh, whatever. It made sense. It was very useful having a bunch of wrestlers because it's very similar to the wrestling. But I remember that rule meeting, Dante sat in, and it was the first time that I got grilled about my rules. And I always like, all right, so when I do my rule meeting now, I'm quick. I pretty much answer everything. But that was the first time that someone asked me questions, and I had to respond. And me just looking at Dante's face, I'm like, did I make sense? And it proved. I was like, all right, cool, we got there. It was really a test for my rules. I was like, all right, cool. But that event was awesome. And then you stay, you're in and out. I mean, you're like young. So you're fighting actively. Then over the last year and a half for us, since we moved here, you stayed pretty active,
Yeah.
But you had 3 matches for us last year. You got breakout fight of the year for us, right? So when's the last time you fought MMA?
So believe it or not, it was a couple of days ago, like a year ago.
Oh,
so
you fought it was like
ago? Yeah, I got like a flashback, and it was like, a year ago today, and it was when I won the title and freehold, and that's the last time I fought. But I was talking to my coaches, and I just got the call today. I'm back on next month.
Nice.
So to finish my last amateur fight, and then hit up the pro scene down the road. But I was just focusing in the meantime, just jiu-jitsu, still training MMA. But I was just really trying to push the jiu-jitsu, some of the tournaments down there, because I like to test myself against like a lot of the higher belts, do the expert divisions all the time, and just seeing where I'm at. And this tournament next week is a great test for me. I'm pretty sure I'm the youngest kid in the bracket by like 5-6 years.
You and Nick are pretty young.
Yeah,
Arnold's young.
So like I was saying, like what I was thinking is like, I have nothing to lose really. Those guys that black belts in that division, brown belts, purple belts. Like I'm the young buck in that division, and I'm gonna make some noise down there. I already know. Test a lot of the guys down there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm putting the belt here. All right, there's obviously a guy that's in there. He has 2 titles already. Looking for a third.
Mm-hmm.
You have a bunch of the veterans, but like again, you're undefeated. Amateur and pro for us. Who are you fighting for next month?
CFC.
All right, yeah, I figured. They're doing a full amateur card, right?
Yeah,
that's dope. So it's good. I mean, good. I was wondering. I mean, I knew you were in school too.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone got to get we would love to fight all the time, but life does unfortunately get in the way until it starts paying.
I'm about to be done next month, so the beginning of July. I have an online class, but I'm
for associates.
Yeah, associates. Yeah.
Brook Dale.
Yeah.
But that's all. All right. So obviously, when did you start your jiu-jitsu journey?
So believe it or not, I started when I was 10, but I hated it in the beginning. My parents would force me to go. I went with a friend, and he ended up not enjoying it, but my parents would just force me to go, every single day. And then eventually, the more I trained, I started doing more tournaments. And once I came to the adults class and started winning more tournaments, I was like, you know what? I kind of like this more. And now, like, every day, my parents are like, I'm out of the house all the time. They're like, he's training. So they don't complain about it because they know I'm doing the right thing, pursuing my dream. So
were you wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu at the same time when you were a kid?
So I never really went to a club. Everything was jiu-jitsu based. Like I was state qualifier. I was wrestleback 2 in high school, but everything was just jiu-jitsu based. I remember I was like, in the summer, I would always call the adults down to do live wrestling from stand-up. And that's how I got good at all my takedowns, pretty much. And I had that funky style. And then guys would tie up with me. And like you said, you were like, just a regular wrestler. And I had some guys that I train with now that I wrestle against. And they're like, we didn't expect, they'd be like, I was known as the jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
And I just funk around and somehow they're on their back. But it's just, jiu-jitsu built me and created me to what I am today.
You've been at Dante's this whole time?
Whole time. Since I was 10 years old. A lot of those guys down there, especially Dante's, knew me since I was a little kid. So he's watched me growing up. He's like a father figure to me, So.
I love Dante. Is an enigma. It doesn't matter. I saw him at Chase Bank, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's right next to my house, whatever. I live right next to the new gym. But I walk in and I just see the Venom gear. I see it's the whole set. I look at him and I look down and he's got his little dog.
Oh,
it's
Fluffy.
The pink dog. It's a pink dog. And I'm like, hey, Dante. And he's like, what's up, man? You like my guard dog? I'm like,
yeah.
And little people know, he will kill all of you.
Yeah. He has to do it, Everyone sees it on the mats. He's Fluffy's all her paws are pink and her hair is all pink. It's cute. He's he'll kill you, but he has a cute dog, You
need that good side of you and all that, but that's awesome. The loyalty. I mean, and we already talked about your team that you're from. There's always success. I feel like every week I'm opening up my phone and I'm seeing somebody won something somewhere, and it speaks to Dante, but it really speaks to you guys because just as a wrestling coach, when you look at it, your success really only happens from your room, right? It's really hard for that one kid that was in the lower room to always break out to the next thing. Kind of something we could say, you're wrestling for Gilberto, good coach, good program. But sometimes if you don't have that in the room to help you get to the next level, it's hard. Over Dante's, that's not an issue because, again, you're running into a group that you can go. So what is that support staff? Just making sure, everyone's doing the right thing, I'm going to assume, right? I don't want to blow into anyone's lives, but everyone's doing this right thing. Everyone has the same goal, everyone's just trying to get to that next level.
Yeah. Having Dante there is just, there's no better coach, from my experience from wrestling coaches. I love all my coaches, but, Dante is just, he's always there for you. You have even if it's not jiu-jitsu related or MMA related, he's always there. Even it could be a white belt, first day of class, Dante's there to help you out, introduce himself. You need anything, I'm here for you. Dante's just, his character is just a very, very respectable man. And, since I was young, he's always watched me grow. And he'd always tell me, because I told him, I want to fight. I want to be in the UFC when I'm older. And ever since I said that, he never forgot about it. So once I turned 18, he put me in my amateur debut and just kept going from there. Like, he works so hard with these guys. You know, we have a lot of guys that are about to get signed, you know, different places. A lot of pro fighters now, and they just work super hard. And Dante is there to push everybody. I don't know where we would be without him.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, like I said, obviously Dante was known for himself, but once he put on the coaching hat, that you see him everywhere, and I see it from all sides, right? I see it from as a promoter when he comes to an event. I see it when I'm cornering guys. I've cornered against him, and it's all that. It's definitely a nice cohesive group, and you know, winning's addictive. So it's like you win something, your boy wants to get it and all that. So you definitely feed off of that. So that's definitely a great place to be. You know, there's not much you can do. So like we said, you've been part of HCS for a hot minute. The only difference into your Grand Prix now is you'll have an 8-minute regulation, right? So 8-minute regulation before all the overtime. We adopted that last year into the Grand Prix tournaments. And it was just more like the higher belts were like, yo, give us more time to work. We hate to do it because we want to see action, but again, $1,000 on the line too. Yeah. Whatever. If you're going to get the 7 regulation, get the 7 regulation. Your experience, right? You've kind of been in some bigger events for us. You've been at a lot of bigger events, right? Your buddy competed on HS20 last year, so you saw how big that was when the absolute Grand Prix was going on. Frank will be back next week as well. You were at the female Grand Prix last year too, right? Yes. That's when you fought George. So you've seen the bigger events. Next week's going to be a big event, and you have other experiences around on the bigger events. So all that aside, what's going to separate you from the rest of the crowd next week?
So I'm pretty I'm fun to watch, you know. So every match I have, everyone tells me it's an exciting match. You know, I bring a lot to the table: wrestling, jiu-jitsu, whatever MMA, whatever kind of work you want. But I work well with long times, like 8-minute matches. That's like it's like a comfort zone. I have that cardio, I have that gas tank. I know a lot of guys, even though they might say they do, they don't have the gas tank I do. So I feel like I put the pace on those guys and just work it, you know, work till I get that belt. We have a couple other guys competing next week. Frank, like we were talking about before. I work a lot with Frank. Robert Musio too is on that card.
His debut finally. Finally.
Yeah. But we all work very hard, and we're just gonna put the pace on these guys and show us, you know, we mean business.
And you guys Dante's part of the inaugural kid match.
Yeah.
We got a little Noah, right? Yeah. Noah's and his dad's on the card too.
Yeah. I just heard about that too. I was like, but yeah, especially the kids.
You guys have an army.
Yeah. We have so many kids down in that gym, and you know, that's where I came from, the kids class, you know, and it's just Dante keeps brewing these kids, and they're animals. You see them killing the ADCC scene, IBJJF, everything. Like, you know, even if it's like our MMA fighters killing it, also our kids are killing it in these big tournaments. So, you know.
And so you never know who is going to be next, but there's only a next if they start. So that's where it is, and that's exactly what I want to do. I've been trying to get kids on these shows for a while, you know, because I know that's where I want to give the reason why I made HCS was to kind of give jiu-jitsu guys a wrestling feel. Like, there was never a time in my wrestling career that I wasn't able to go compete. It doesn't matter what state, whatever. I can go find a tournament this weekend, no matter what. So that's why we like staying active. So I know, all right, let me give these kids the opportunity. So I'm excited. That's going to be the first match of the card. So if you're coming for the kids, make sure they're on time. We'll roll all the way through. But we'll have 2 more questions, and we'll let you get back to training. All right, get on your path. All right. First question. It could be yours. It could be something you saw. What is your favorite HCS moment?
Okay. So I'll go for probably my favorite. It was probably against George Shabinsky.
Okay.
Very strong guy. One of my teammates fought him, but he was very high caliber guy. I remember a couple of my buddies DM'd him because they were like, oh, DM'd me, and they're like, oh, I trained with him. It's going to be a good match. Like, I'm excited for it, you know. And it was just, when I was in there, it was just like a fun match. It was kind of like a flow state. You know, I just kept the pressure on him, especially in Aztec Temple. It's a really nice gym. I was like walking, I was like, damn, this is nice spot. They have like a CrossFit area, everything. And then when I went for the last event, HCS 19, I think it was,
With the Ironman?
Yeah, the Ironman.
The Ironman tournament, the Ironman 5, yeah.
When we went there, it was, the head coach was just great hospitality.
Mike, yeah.
He's like, you guys need anything, we're here. He's coaching Frank, too, for some of his matches. Just a respectful team. Just the event, the gym as a whole, I like down there. But it was overall a good day. We had a couple guys compete, but that was probably my favorite moment. Yeah,
we started on that match. I go, this one's going to be a banger. We'll see. I know there's some questionable calls and whatever. You kept it calm, and then you found the win. Those matters. All right. Last question. You win it. You get the belt. You get the check. What are you spending it on?
Ooh, I don't know. I might just save. Save. Actually, probably bet in like 500 on Charles.
Charles that night.
Yeah, Charles that night. I can't. I'm a big fan of Charles, so I'm gonna bet the house on Charles. Put 500 on him. Bet MGM. All my friends are like, I'm a Charles fan, but Illy's gonna win. But I doubt it. So I bet the house on Charles and bet the house on Brandon Smith. So.
There you go. The champ has a name, and it's Charles and Brandon Smith. That's where we're going for here. But again, Brandon, thanks for coming on. Came out, and then, like I said, this is our first in person. I wanted to give it to somebody that's been in here. We watched grow from the amateurs to the pro, and you have an opportunity to make a name for yourself. You're making a name for yourself on all aspects, but at the house party, you're always welcome. And I'm glad every time you bring some more boys and getting in there. It's going to be rowdy next week. Again, it's coming to you live next Saturday, June 28th, from Rhino Wrestling Club in Morganville, New Jersey. Tickets are available at hcsgrappling.com. If you're coming to support Brandon, make sure you drop his name in the commission box. All fighters get commission, and as long as you get it done before Friday at 6 p.m. when the scales close, that's when we cut commissions. But they get tickets and streaming. So go out, put your favorite fighter out there, come out. We'll be done way before the UFC card, even the prelims, all right? We run a tight shift, so you won't be mad. This belt goes home with somebody. Best belt in grappling. I can't wait. Again, Brandon, thank you. Best of luck next week. We'll definitely have some exciting matches. Until next time, we'll see you later.